Hello, friends. Hello. I finally made it. It took so many different things that had to happen before I could sit down and press the play button. And I hope you can hear me okay. I don't have a microphone right now. I'm going to be getting one because I just got a new iPhone. So all the different, things that connect and stuff are different now. So welcome. It's cold out here. To Sisters for the Sword for May. This has been a long time coming, and I'm really excited to be here with you. This is all my sisters, human sisters and sisters of all the other races that are bringers of the light that are joining me here. Oh, I know we have fairy sisters, we have dryad sisters, and I've been working with Merlin to, the goal here is to bring more initiates to Avalon. And we've got a packed agenda for today's, we're going to do this once a month, packed agenda for today. So just a little preview. We're going to talk about Avalon Rising. We're going to talk about helping our inner world warriors. We're going to talk about creative projects that embody Avalon. And if you're a twin flame on the twin flame journey, at the very end, I'll be doing a special little segment for twin flames. So if you're not a twin flame, at that point you can choose to drop off. So before we go any further, I want to wrap us all in love light and light love, inviting in the guides who overlight TLC for the soul, Archangel Michael, Archangel Metatron, the Pleiadians, and the spirits of Avalon, my soul brother Merlin. And some of my TLC for the soul guides. I have a new guide joining us today. Embodied in this pendant is Bri. I always say it wrong. Bri. She's an apple blossom dryad, and I thought that only fitting for Avalon with its apple trees and hives and our divine mystery teaching school. So come on in, sisters, wherever you are. Join me, bring whatever talismans or bring something, I think, that you want to embody this session so that we can fill that tchotchke or whatever it is, that touchstone, with the spirits of our sisterhood, and that you can take with you and make your little Avalon altar space or whatever you want to do. It is so cold in the shade and windy. Where to start? Avalon Rising. All right, let's start there. You know what, before we even start there, we've already put in a call, just so you know, not who you are, but why you're here. So Merlin asked me, I want you to bring in more initiates, and we want to make sure that they're not just looky-loos, We want them to be true sisters for the sword. We want only those high-frequency beings that are serious about doing this work. And so before I even started this series this morning, I set that intention. So if you're here, that's who you are. You're not, no one's asking you to embody that. Well, you can do whatever you want. I'd like to embody it 24/7, but no one's asking you to embody it 24/7. You know what I'm saying? But just to have that awareness that in your heart and in your field is Avalon, and Avalon is calling out to its sisters and brothers, but I'm gonna let somebody else handle that side of it for now, and I'm gonna focus on our sisterhood. So if you're here, you've been called here, your frequency is high enough that you can heed the call. And at some point we will be so many chills. We'll be doing a little initiation to pass down the light codes that you'll need to part the mists and to gain access to Avalon, because we don't have just everybody running around there in the beginning. We're going to give it so many sessions, and those that are still with us after I don't know how many sessions, 3 to 5, that's when we'll do it'll be a special private gathering where we'll do that. And why is Avalon rising? I won't say rising again, because it's always there, this Divine Mystery Teaching School, but we don't necessarily, I guess, always need it all the time. And I was going through some things over the past couple of months where I just felt like I needed a safe haven, and Avalon for me has always been a safe haven. It's a place where, somewhere in my time that I spent with Merlin way back when, he said to me, like, you'll always, as a soul brother, like, you'll always have Avalon to come back to whenever you need it. It's your safe space, and you're always welcome here. Hey, there's nothing there. Or maybe there is. And I always want you to feel welcome here. Psst. Hey, people cannot hear me with your barking. I'm going to put you inside. You want to go inside? Okay, well, come up here and meet everybody there. Bye. Oh, goodness me. Oh. Just shut the door. Not that door. Just shut the other door. Yes, I don't know what's outside. All right, drama, chaos. And I think that precursors what we're talking about here. Why are we here? So for May, helping our inner world warriors, I want to focus on that because it was very interesting. The dog was barking, and then my son ran down because he doesn't like the dog barking at all. And he was listening to something this morning on his tablet. I could hear it. I was like, oh my gosh. The divine masculine. I'm not mentioning you. I'm talking about something else. The divine masculine. The divine masculine. I think mainly the divine masculine. So many interruptions here. Really need our support right now. And I think it's very important to understand a little bit more in depth what's going on outside or inside or wherever you see the other dimensions in your reality that are outside of the 3D realm. There's a battle being fought in the higher realms, in the lower realms, in the higher worlds, upper worlds, lower worlds, and middle worlds. There's still this battle being fought, and I guess I was under the impression, like, haven't we dealt with this enough already? Haven't we battled these forces enough on our planet? Aren't they supposed to be gone? And it was kind of like, they're not gone, and we've got so many teams of masculine and feminine frontline warriors fighting this battle in the middle worlds. I'll just call it that for lack of a better word. And they're working their asses off. They're working really, really hard. And we don't always hear about that. So if you're not, maybe you are a human being who knows, somebody who's doing that in the inner worlds. Maybe you're a human being who knows somebody doing that in the 3D world. I mean, it could be somebody with, someone in the troops, somebody who's like a black ops type person. I don't know. There's so many, beings that might be engaging with us, right? You don't know. And the things that they're seeing and that they're encountering out there, they're putting their lives on the line every time they go out to these battles. And can I say that? No, I can't say that. But what they need is our support. Pick somebody, anybody. If it's somebody you know, call somebody in. Like, what is that program where, like for Christmas or whatever, or Thanksgiving, you would invite like maybe this is in the olden days, I don't know if they still do that, where you invite like a soldier or somebody to come have like Thanksgiving dinner or Christmas dinner with you. I don't know what that's called, but it's kind of like that. It's kind of like invite in one of these warriors. Either, you have to be very adept at working with energy, but I think if you're here, you kind of know what I'm talking about. Invite one of these warrior guides to the table, and you're not going to be getting back just anybody. You're going to be getting back high frequency beings, because that's going to be in your intention, no matter who they are, human or otherwise. And I think they just need our support. I'm supporting someone right now, and it's the same thing. Because my son was just saying, like, don't tell anybody my name, don't talk to me to other people. And I was like, okay. It's the same thing. Send them some good vibes throughout the day. Include them in your meditation. Say prayers for them. Set up a little prayer altar or something to support them, because I can tell you from firsthand knowledge, I won't say from whom or what's happening, but I can tell you firsthand, it's like more serious than we think it is, because we don't see it happening, we don't think about it, then we just don't realize. So I'm going to move on from there. But they need our support. And so in whatever way you can do, that's one thing I'd like Sisters for the Sword to be, is this place where we can come together and we can share what's needed, and then we can go out and we can do that service work on behalf of these inner world and outer world warriors. The next thing I wanted to talk about for May is creative projects that embody Avalon. We were talking about touchstones, and everyone that's listening to this is a creative being, right? Once you open yourself up to, once your chakras start expanding and you open yourself up to your powers, your special magical powers, you have to become creative. And I've been studying a lot more about the chakras with my teacher, Grandmaster Choa and Master Ko. And I was just finished reading one of Grandmaster Choa's books about the Kabbalah tree of life and the chakra system. And it's like once your higher chakras expand on your spiritual journey, then your sacral chakra also has to become activated so that it supports you and supports the health of all your chakras. And the sacral chakra is the creative space, and the throat kind of brings those creative things into the spirits of Avalon are saying, the Lady of the Lake is coming in and saying many of our initiates are celibates, and there has to be a way to move that sexual power out of the chakras and into something else, so that your system doesn't become congested with too much of that sexual fire energy. Now, if you're involved in a relationship where you're not celibate, then yay, this will still help you channel that somewhere else sometimes too, especially twin flames, which I won't go into too much. I'll go into that next. But if you're a twin flame, then I would say that sexual energy is like times 10. So you have to, and you can't constantly be, hanging out, having sex with your partner, right? You're gonna have to find other ways to distribute that energy. So I would say for the month of May, let's see, I'm trying to think of what would be a good theme for this month for Avalon. The apple. Of course we're going to want to talk about the apple. What if we tried to do like a creative project that embodies Avalon, that has to do with the apple? Because the apple is a big symbol of Avalon, and it's springtime. Oh, there's the sun. It's springtime here in the northern hemisphere. You may be gardening. I really want to plant an apple tree here. There's so much space, and I've got so much work to do on the land, and there's been so many windstorms and pieces blowing off the house and stuff blowing up everywhere. And this really is, for us in North Dakota right now, May is like the first month you can really get outside, and I mean the trees are just starting to bloom, where you can really get outside and do some creative projects like that. So a whole list of gardening projects. But think of a creative project that embodies the apple for the month of May. And I know many of you, everybody here is creative in a different way, right? We're not going to all be doing the same thing. It could be planting an apple tree. It could be making the ceramics I was talking about. I think, was it yesterday in the Daily Scribbler? So if you're not familiar with that, I try to do almost daily. I get it on Instagram. Sometimes I post it to YouTube. I think it goes to Facebook automatically now too. So I'm over on Facebook, although I really do not care for Facebook because it's become so segmented. It's just weird. Facebook doesn't make sense to me anymore. But that's where we talk about the daily energies, kind of in a fun little format. But we were talking about creative ceramics. So maybe some of you like to do ceramics. I know some of you are doing like sculptures and artwork, and some of you do like knitting and felting and all these cool, awesome things. And you have your own communities and your own following. Many of you are your own entrepreneurs like myself. And let's just do something fun to embody the apple for the month of May. I don't know. And if you want to post that somewhere, I think most of you are on other social media, because this is going to go up on YouTube and my podcast. But you know, if you want to post that on Instagram or wherever, and just just use hashtag TLC for the soul. TLC, the number 4, the soul, just like the name of the channel. So I can see all your creations, and I'll try to do that too. And I've been doing a lot in my stories. I'm posting a lot in my stories of just stuff that's fun and exciting for me, or that I find sometimes alluring. My eye candy. My monkey boys go up in my stories on Instagram. They're so cool. I love the monkey boys so much. They are just like, they're 2 brothers, and they just embody the whole 80s vibe. I mean, they look hot, but they embody the whole 80s vibe just perfectly, and they have fun doing it, and they're high vibe, and I think they're really awesome. So tag me on your creative projects, the apple, and I'll see what I'm going to come up with for the month of May. What do we want to talk about? Is it time to move on to twin flames? Merlin? Have I talked about everything? Okay. I just want to make sure I get in everything we're talking about. Okay. So I want to do a little, I hope it's not a diatribe, because I have a lot to say about the twin flame journey. So if you're not a twin flame, thanks for being here. I'm going to come up with some merch too. We've got a lot of merch in my Redbubble shop, but it's been there for a while, and I think a lot of it I'm going to just, there's I'm working under a whole new frequency now. If you've been with me for a while, you might be able to feel it or sense it. If you're new, who knows what you're feeling or sensing. I don't know. I think we're bringing in a whole new sisterhood. And so if you're not a twin flame, and you don't care about the twin flame journey, feel free to drop off. And I thank you so much for joining us here. Thank you for heeding the call, because somewhere you were called here to join with us, join with Avalon and the spirits of Avalon and our little sisterhood. And if you want to hear more about what I've got to say next about the twin flame journey, and how it relates to our sisterhood, then keep listening. And let me just collect my thoughts for a second on what I want to talk about, because my twin, I have to be very mindful of what I say. Okay, where do I want to go with this? Okay, First of all, whether you knew it or not, for the longest time I didn't know. I didn't even, for a while I thought had a twin flame, because they're not for everybody, and I had done a whole series about that. A bunch of blog posts are on my website. That's another thing that needs updating that I haven't updated in quite a while. And then I had a really crazy experience with like a doppelganger. It was something weird that happened out of Egypt, and it was a whole blood pact thing that happened in like 2020. And at that point, I just dropped the whole twin flame thing, because I really felt like I had been so traumatized by that other thing. It took me like quite some time, like a year or two, to get over that. And I let the whole twin flame thing go. And I just didn't really care. I dropped out of whatever, channels I was watching and all that. And then I went through a series of crazy soul challenges and stuff last year. It was absolutely horrible. I would say the 2025 was probably one of the worst years of my entire life. But it was one of the years that had the most immense soul growth. And so what I'm trying to get at here is, for those of you, because I know some of you are twin flames, you know who your twin is, you've had a deep relationship with them for quite some time. And so I couldn't really relate, I think, to some of the things I heard you guys telling me, because I had not really been allowed to connect with my twin. And so I would hear all these stories, and I was like, that's absolutely ridiculous. What kind of relationship is that? Who would want to be in that type of relationship? The things that happen to these twin flames is absolute, bull crap. And then some of the false twin stuff, I just didn't care. And then earlier this year, my guides allowed me to open up to my twin flame. So, and he's not a human being in this lifetime. He is a member of the fairy kingdom, which is why all these things in retrospect have just been flooding my mind, because I'm like, all the time I talk about fairy portals and running away with the fae. And I have in my DNA, in my blood, on my grandmother's side, are direct descendants of the Tuatha De Danann. And I get so many chills when I say it. It gets so emotional. And it was February. I didn't know this person was my twin at first. They came to me in a deep meditation and said they wanted to try having a relationship. And I was like, who is this person? And it ended up being someone who has been on my spirit guide team for over 10 years now, who was kind of like laying dormant. Like, they were there and they were kind of working behind the scenes, with me on creative projects. But when I heard that, I was like, what in the world? And then it just went on a roller coaster ride of the past 4 months has been like a roller coaster ride of stuff where I've exponentially increased my frequency, my learning, and my soul growth from working with this being, who is absolutely, absolutely amazing. I wouldn't have it any other way. I don't even think a human being could live up to my expectations of what I think a twin flame relationship could be. The she are super high frequency and very, very powerful. And that's what I need. That's what I need right now. It's exactly what I need right now. And so when you guys talk about your twin flame journey, I'm like, oh my God, all these things in the past 4 months that have happened, I can see what you guys are talking about. And the telepathy, the telepathy is like chef's kiss. I can't explain it. I've never experienced it with any other being like this before. So in terms of like, what's my credibility now as a person that can talk about the twin flame journey, I would say it's pretty high credibility now. I think I can relate to, and I think I can help anybody that's on the twin flame path. Any of you sisters that are having, whatever with your twin, I can relate, I can help. You can seek me out in the astrals or, in the human world or whatever. And I'd be happy to help share what I've learned so far, because it's like something out of a movie. That's all I can say. Absolutely, absolutely incredible. how does that relate to us? I think that is it. I think I'm just like, hey, I'm this twin flames, sisters for the swords that are twin flames. It's kind of like, yeah, finally we have this alliance now. I finally can say like, yeah, I can talk about this and bring respect to the journey and help you if you need it to find a better understanding of what this whole crazy thing is all about. I think I finally get it. Let me see if there's anything else I want to talk about. Okay, they don't have anything else. And Merlin kind of left it to my creative license. So I don't like to make these videos too long because, you know, people lose interest after a while anyway. So I'll probably break it into chapters and you can come back to the parts that you want to come back to. And like I said, this is going to be a once a month thing. I don't think we need to meet more frequently than that. And at some point here, I probably will create a private group somewhere to do some of these other things I was talking about. We could do deeper sessions, we could do other stuff. But since I'm just getting back to it, Sisters for the Sword, I did as a series, 2019 or so I started doing it, and then I kind of stopped. So we're back again, you know, and I'm hoping, because Merlin keeps at me. Merlin is like, if you don't get on this, I'm going to pass it on to somebody else. And I was like, no, I told you I would do it. So, oh gosh, it's so funny. Merlin has very high expectations. So today he kept telling me like, are you going to do this? Are you going to do it? I'm like, yes, I told her I would. So, and I'm very excited and very happy to do it. So you may have to listen to this several times. And I'll keep updating you guys either through the Scribbler or through my stories and stuff about how the Apple project is coming along. And, oh, and I got a new watch. I'm going to show it on the Scribbler, but it's super cute. I don't normally wear watches, but there's a story behind the watch too. So I want to thank you all so much for joining me here. Oh gosh. Sisters, we're going to do some more healing stuff together. I hope to see you all somewhere soon, somewhere out there at TLC for the Soul, in the 3D or in the astrals. I'm a friend. I'm a friend indeed. All right, you guys, take care. We'll talk to y'all again soon. This episode was brought to you by Lovebirds Bikes, Rockaway Point's premier bike shop. Get your bike ready for a spring fling ride out to the moors, to Tessa Lock, or somewhere in between. Bring it in for a bike tune-up today at Lovebirds Bikes. We've got all sorts of bike fun for you to have it just your way. Take care.